He treated me like a son. He treated me like he's like a dad to me. He never said I love you, just like a real dad. I tried to get health insurance in February. Yeah, did you know you can't? I had no idea. I called like an idiot. I was like, 1 health insurance, please. Because it's almost over, isn't it? Not the show, but the world. That's wrapping up. This is my second marriage, so a lot of pressure on me. All right, anyone can have 1 divorce, but 2, you gotta start looking in that mirror going, all right, how am I chewing? I love Thai food here in the United States. I have it all the time. And then I flew all the way to Thailand. I had it there, and I was like, oh, you're making it wrong. Like this. Where can I get it authentic? Where do you guys make it authentic? Zoltan. Hungarian. Anyway, here are my genitals. He sat next to that hobo on the train with the blanket over his face. Mm-hmm. That's how I knew you've become comfortable being in New York now. Mm-hmm. There's a full homeless guy, blanket over his head, could have been dead, and you sat right next to him.
Too.
Of course he smelled.
Tucked your feet right under that blanket.
He made me feel comfortable.
Yeah, and I didn't, because you left space for me to sit down. I'm like, I'm not squeezing into that sandwich. I stood off to the side, and I'm like, I'll keep a watchful eye. Yeah. In case something goes awry, I'll call 911 really quickly. Well, I go, get over here. What are you doing over there? Get over here. Mm-hmm. You know. I think we started the episode. That's a good open. That's a good open. Welcome to the podcast, everybody. Welcome to This Week in Zoltan. I am Zoltan. This is episode 380. We got Emma to the left of me. Say hello.
Hello.
And we got Mike with an adorable ring light. Look at him, so illuminated. Look at him. You just fall into his deep brown eyes.
Hazel.
Is that?
No. That's what people with brown eyes say when they want to sound different.
Do you say that?
I say, yeah, sometimes.
You say they're
caramel sometimes.
Caramel. Now we're just choosing paint at the hardware store. This is more of a white. We're looking for an eggshell for the nursery. I used to do that.
Mine's more of a midnight muffin. I don't know what that means.
I used to paint, like when I worked at the retirement home, I was a maintenance guy for a short time, and I used to have to paint the walls. So when like a new resident would come in, they had a weird protocol. When someone died, they would paint the walls. Like that somehow gets the spirit out of there. I don't know what that was, but they're like, paint the walls. And one of the perks of new residents is like you got to choose the color of your walls, whatever color you wanted, and it was like part of the package. Their rent was extremely high, and this one lady wanted like a plum color, like a dark. No. She wanted white, like the whitest white. It was like Snow White or something was the name of the paint. The old color though was plum, like dark purple, and I was in there all weekend painting this thing, and it kept bleeding through. The old color kept bleeding through. And the lady's daughter kept coming in, and I've been working on this thing all weekend. I'm covered in paint. It's on my contact lenses. And she's like, oh, it's bleeding through here and here. I'm like, I see it. I'm still chugging along, you know? And I work on it all weekend. Then Monday, it's still bleeding through. So I come into work early to throw another layer on there before this lady comes in. She comes in, she's blind. The resident is blind. Can't see. I could have painted genitalia all over the walls. She wouldn't have known.
Could have painted with your genitalia. Yeah. No one would have known.
No one would have known. And so anytime I think of paint colors and I'm a hazel or a thing, I always think of Snow White, which was the name of this paint, and putting it over plum and how much I hated my life.
That's an incredible. I mean, that's a great story. Yeah. Did you ever tell it on stage?
No.
You should. Yeah. There's so many layers to that. There's so many layers to that.
And there was so many layers. There was a lot of that. Like one time I was, I think when you get older, you just ask, or maybe you just ask dumb questions throughout your entire life. But this lady got new tires for her car, because she had a parking spot out back, and I was in the summer, and I'm outside doing gardening. It's like 100 degrees outside. I'm sweating so hard that I'm sweating through my shirt, and when I go into air conditioning, my shirt turns white because of the salt in my sweat. So I'm dying out there. And she comes up to me, and she's like, excuse me, very nice, sweet lady. They all were. And then I turn off my lawnmower, and I'm like, what's up? And she's like, I just got new tires for my car. I'm like, that's great. And she's like, is it all right if I park on the asphalt? And I'm like, yeah, that's probably where you want to do that. And she's like, it's not going to wreck the tires. And I'm like, what? Like, I don't know if you've ever been under almost heat stroke and then had a dumb question thrown at you, but like my brain was so hot that I'm like, wait, is this a dumb question, or is my brain so cooked that it sounds like a dumb question? And I just, because I wanted to yell, everything you've ever driven on is made of asphalt. Like, what are you, from the Dust Bowl? Like, were you just going down dirt roads in Kansas? Like, yeah, it's gonna. And I don't even remember what I said, but I hope that I just ripped the lawnmower back on and went off.
I feel like nowadays, if someone asks me, I think I'm old enough to the point where if someone asks me a question that's so stupid, I don't even know. I don't have like the piss and vinegar that I used to have.
Yeah.
And I just go, what? Like maybe I don't understand the question, but huh? Like people must think I'm an absolute bag of dirt when I respond to their stupid questions.
You know what would be the most insulting is my natural instinct is to look back at them and go, I don't know where to start. Based on what you asked me, I don't know which angle to come from. I don't know how you mean it. I don't know if this is a prank. I don't know if I should play along or be scared or turn and walk away.
You just turn to your lawnmower, turn it off, and you go, do that again. I don't know what.
Take two. Let's get the clapper in here. Let's try again. But anyway, before we get cooking too much, let's get to our one and only sponsor, The Safe Journal, created by the one and only Emma Basiri. Safe Journal, safejournal.co. Zoltan at checkout, Zoltan, for 25% off, and a handwritten note by me. It's a great journal.
And
all right,
one bag of tea per order.
Listen, you psychos. I know you're getting journals because you're mentally ill, but that's probably not how I should come off. Yeah, that's not a good
Redo that.
Take two. I love that.
What?
I don't know where to start with that. Yeah, there's one bag of tea per order. By the way, that's not advertised. So if we run out of tea, you're just not going to get any tea because you ordered a journal. That'd be like if I ordered a pair of shoes off of Nike, and I'm like, where the hell's my bow staff?
It's like if you ordered tea and you got a journal. Yeah. The hell just happened? Huh? All right.
Why don't you stain your teeth with this wood-free paper? This journal isn't a regular journal. There's so much more. There's so many tools. There's reflection is key to this journal, as far as and along with leaving with positivity. Mm-hmm. You know, because you have 3 prompts at the end that ask you what you're grateful for,
Who or what you're proud of.
Which I think is the most important thing. Because no matter what, like today I'm having kind of an iffy day, and really I could take 5 seconds and go, what am I proud of today? Mm-hmm. And it might boost my mood.
What are you proud of today?
That I got out of bed.
That's great.
Yeah, because I'm injured. Mm-hmm. And we'll get to that in a second. But I got out of bed today, and we didn't have coffee. And I'm the one that went down to Brooklyn Bread and got the coffee for the household.
I feel some resentment there.
Listen, one of us is able-bodied, and the other one is injured on multiple fronts. And I lumbered down there.
Yeah, you
If
did.
he didn't interrupt you just there, that was leading towards a scream. I'm the one that went down to Brooklyn Bread, and I swear to God, you were on the ledge emotionally.
Dude, oh man. It was one of those things where if anything would have gone wrong, I would have blown a gasket. Yeah, I would have been like, call the cops. Call the cops. I'm kidding. But this is something. Safe Journal, everybody. Safejournal.co. No matter what your entry is, whether positive, or negative, at the end, they try to leave your entry with like a silver lining of hope and happiness. Because at the end, they also go, well, what are you going to do now? You know? I mean, which is a good question to ask. You're tired, you're sore, you're injured, you went down, you got coffee, and you came back, and your wife was laying in your comfortable bed with the 2 cats and her nice new pajamas, and she's like, put it over there. But we were still here doing the podcast, so everything worked out. Safe Journal, safejournal.co, Zoltan at checkout. Also, a handwritten note by yours truly. Also, don't forget to write out your whole name. Because I had a note that I wrote for someone, and they filled it out with their first name was just the letter K, which I assume maybe that is their whole name. But my entire note to them was, "Hi K, I don't know what your first name is, but here are some assumptions," and I just listed a bunch of K names. Is it this? Is it Kevin? Is it
Dear
Catherine?
B. Rabbit,
B. Rabbit.
I hope your rap career goes well.
Or I'll write to you as just K. That's totally cool too. But thank you for all the orders. My handwriting has gotten top notch thanks to you guys. And these journals are flying off the shelves. So much so that the ladies at the post office don't like us anymore.
They hate our faces.
They hate our faces. As soon as we show up, which for post office employees already don't look pumped about anything anyway. So to have a more negative impression on their face when you show up is noticeable, right? When we show up, we're like, whoa, they're even less happy now.
There was a lady that asked me, "Oh, what are you sending?" And I'm like, "Oh, they're journals." She's like, "Can you pull up the website and show me?" So I pull up the website. I show her the journal, and she's like, "Okay." And then she opens the cash register. She pulls out $20 from the USPS cash register, and she hands it to me. She's trying to hand it to me, and she's like, "Here, can you bring me one next time?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's okay. I don't want to be an accomplice to this." I didn't say that part, but I'll just bring you one next time. But that was the weirdest thing.
And then we never saw her again.
And then I think she got fired or something.
I'm assuming you get fired after.
That's a last day on the job move. Oh. You know what? Give me 2. I don't take whatever you want. I don't care what's going on in here.
She also never asked what they cost. She just pulled out $20 like, that ought to do it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Actually, pull out another 20, you know? And shipping, just because I'm walking it here, we're still paying for shipping,
Yeah.
all right? But, yeah, that is, I'm a big fan of post office employees, I think, because I like Charles Bukowski, who worked at the post office till he was like in his 50s and then quit to become a writer. But that novel, Post Office, beautiful.
I don't want to be the bearer of good news, but you know that USPS has pickups, right? You can just have them pick it up.
We're getting there.
Oh, okay, good.
We're about to get to that number where we're gonna have to start setting up pickups or buy a wagon. And
settled wagon.
Yeah, I've been on the hunt for one.
Yeah.
Red Rider only.
We're gonna get a wagon and a rescue dog, and and we're gonna be like the Grinch, just delivering these damn journals to USPS.
What's your dog's name? It's Mush. And he needs to.
Is that a service dog? No, it's a working dog. Get out of the way.
Technically, yes.
But yeah, safejournal.co. Soon we will be setting up pickups, so we're not, especially in this heat, because it's getting hot. We're going to be sweaty and cranky. Hard. It's that sticky sweat. It's that I'm going to punch a stranger sweat, which is, I think there's a correlation between homeless people punching random strangers in the face and the heat. You know, not as much of that in the winter.
Good theory.
Or maybe just as much. I don't know. Pull up the stats on that. Safejournal.co. I'm sorry. And the other thing I have to plug is my special, Honorary Jones, is coming out on YouTube this Sunday. Hey, thank you so much. This Sunday at the airing of this, not this Sunday, the day we're recording, but this Sunday from the time you're listening or watching this, on YouTube, Father's Day. I forget the time. I think it's like 3 p.m.
It's 10
New
a.m.
York.
10 a.m. West Coast.
No, it was, but we moved it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think it was going to be 1 p.m. New York and 10 a.m. West Coast, but we moved it to 3 p.m. New York time, noon California. Just watch it. It's on Sunday, all right? So when you're done playing golf with your dad, Why don't you get on back, snuggle up on the couch, and put on YouTube and watch me. I realized that I picked a horrible month to release this special. Everyone's releasing a special in June. I don't know if you knew that. Maybe it's just every month and I haven't been paying attention. But as soon as we're getting ready to put up all the hoopla of please watch this for the love of God, I just noticed there's I think every day there's a comedy special coming out. I think Adam Ray, a comedian, his special comes out also on my day. So a lot of competition out there.
Is it Adam Ray or is it Dr. Phil?
I don't know. It might be because he does a thing where he dresses as Dr. Phil. He's been doing it for a while. And he does a live show as Dr. Phil. He does a great job. He got to play Vince McMahon in The Young Rock. Oh. The show that was on NBC. He played Vince McMahon, which was more of a jolly character before everything came out about old Vinnie Mac.
Cool.
But go watch my special this Sunday, Honorary Jones, Father's Day. I'm supposed to talk more about it. That's it.
What's it called? Oh, you said it.
I said it. That's
Sorry, I zoned out. Just trying to participate.
I can tell, so normally you zone out during shows and movies. We're watching that show Your Honor that just came out on Netflix with Breaking Bad guy.
Yeah.
Who, another show where straight and narrow guy turns into not straight and narrow guy. But we're watching the show and there's so many characters and nuances and things. And then something will happen in the show and I'm like, oh! And then she's just over there and no reaction. And at this point in our relationship, I already know I have to pause it and go, all right. So the DA is going to get this kid off, but that other guy's going to kill him before the cops get him out of the jail. So it's going to be a real nail biter. And she's like, oh.
There's just too much talking.
Yeah, she doesn't. Emma, you're in this. I'm trying to picture the perfect movie for you. And it's a movie with enough action, but not too much action. Because if I put on John Wick, you're like, enough with the screeching tires. But you need not as much talking.
You know what movie I liked? The one that we just watched, the Bandit one. What was that called? Westbound and Down.
Oh, Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah, that was so good.
She likes Smokey and the Bandit. Great. Speaking of screeching tires, which that's a lot of screeching tires. And when I put that movie on, your eyes rolled. As soon as I was like, can we watch Smokey and the Bandit? You're like, if you rub my feet, that's our meeting place, which is I can put on wrestling or boxing or a movie from the 70s if I rub her hooves. That's the understanding we have. And then I'm rubbing it, and then by the second time they played the song, she's like, this movie's great. It's a great movie.
It was good.
But yeah, I think a movie you would hate is 12 Angry Men, which is just 2 hours of talking.
I actually like that movie.
You like that movie? It's all talking.
Good movie.
They don't even leave the jury room. Wow. All right. I don't know then. But Your Honor, you're hit or miss on. Have you watched Your Honor?
No.
Watch it. Watch the first. I think you can get this by the first episode. But if you watch the first two episode and the second one, it could be edited as a hilarious comedy. It's a very dark movie. It's a dark show about a judge's son who does a hit and run, and then the judge helps cover up his killing of a kid, and which is very dark. But it's also after the entire their lies just keep leading to more chaos. Yeah. And I'm like, this is kind of a comedy. Even when he hit the kid on the motorcycle, even the way his leg was broken, but he looked like Jim Carrey from Dumb and Dumber falling off the tarmac where his leg's off to the side. And I'm like, depending on how you shoot this, and if he would have just gone, that would have been I think Your Honor could be a comedy if you added it in. It's just What's the actor's name from
Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston. It's just him running around trying to desperately clean up his son's giant mistake, who he wants to confess. He's like, no, I did something wrong. I need to confess. He's like, shut up. Everything's fine. It's a really good show, but it could be edited definitely as a comedy.
And so if I just rewatched Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And I'm in a I want more, so that's perfect.
Yes.
For more Bryan Cranston drama.
He's a great actor.
He's so good.
He's so good. He's great in everything. He was great as the dentist on Seinfeld.
I'll take another shtickle of fluoride.
Oh yeah, he's the guy that only converted to Judaism just for the jokes.
Yeah.
Remember that episode? And he was like an Irish guy, and he only converted to be a Jewish so he could do Jewish jokes. And he kept doing it and offended Jerry as a comedian.
It's our sense of humor that kept us together as a people for 300 years. 400, even better. It's so good.
This is your least favorite part of the show.
Yeah.
This is your least favorite movie. It's us doing movie quotes and TV quotes.
Yeah.
You would hate a podcast about movies.
Oh yeah.
Because it's
yeah.
all that. It's all just redoing lines and adding a little ha-ha to them. But no, Bryan Cranston's great in that. We did a lot of watching is what we did. Because we went to your parents' house this weekend, and we were up in Toronto, and they love Breaking Bad. So they started rewatching the series, and which is a pretty dark show.
Yeah.
And it's like your parents are such like nice, quiet people that you just watch them watching like them dump acid on a dead body that they're trying to melt down, and they're just sitting there like, and I'm like, oh man. We had the food was amazing all weekend as always, and we had this great moment in our first night there. Your dad was grilling. They made kebabs, or how do you pronounce them?
Kebab.
Which if you don't know, everyone know. I'm sure everyone's seen a kebab, but the way they do it is your mom has these like 4-foot swords, and they're like this long. Or maybe not 4 feet, however long this is, with a sharp edge to it, and they just put meat on it, and then they bring out these honor swords, and they put them on the grill, and then while your dad was cooking it, he had a big piece of flatbread.
Pita, yeah.
How do you say it?
Pita bread.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying something.
How do you pronounce it? Emma. just like it normally is said.
What kind of meat was it? What do you guys call it? Beef.
Oh, start writing it down.
Beef and pita? Oh, I'm such an idiot. Anyway, so he's over there.
It's like when you have a friend you forgot their name, or someone you know, you're like, how do you spell your name? Jeff? What's the problem here, bud?
So your dad's out there, we're watching him, and the meat's now done, and he was taking the pita bread and using it to take the meat off, and he was putting it in a plate with more pita bread underneath, and that's when you elbow me, and what do you tell me?
I'm like, that, because the pita bread becomes very greasy and oily with all the meat juice.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that piece of bread is given to the most loved family member.
Yes. And then, so he comes back in with all this, sits down, and we're all like, who's it going to go to? Like, I really thought it was going to go to me because I'm still the newest one in the family. And then in front of us, he just plows all the bread.
He just comes back silent, doesn't say anything to anyone.
And then he started tearing it up, and I'm like, oh, he's going to divide it amongst all of us. None of us. He just starts drilling the good meat bread. And you and I start laughing just like this. And he's like, what? And then you told him the story, and hilarity ensued. Excuse me.
It took everything in my power when you said then all the grease goes over the pita. I had to actively stop myself from going, oh yeah.
You can say that.
Because I was thinking, I was like, where's that bread going?
Oh, yeah, where's that bread going?
Where's that pita going to end up?
One of my favorite things, usually I'll do this on a 5 milligram edible.
Sure.
But if you make a steak at home, you put it in a pan, and that good fat that's left over, I'll come in once the edible's kicked in with a little bread that's toasted, and I'll just give it a good wipe out. You know, I'll just look like I'm doing dishes. And she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just cleaning up. And I'm just mopping up all that good steak juice wah, wah, drilling it down. And then you'll come in like, I thought you were cleaning the pan. And I'm like, no, leave this. For tomorrow, we're going to make eggs with the steak juice making the eggs, and we're going to have the best morning ever. You know? That's all of that.
You've heard of Scrub Daddy. How about Scrub Pita? That sounds great.
No, it was a great weekend. We had excellent food. We found out how much of a savage your mom is. Like, remember the second night, one of the dishes on this giant table was a big roasted lamb leg. And after everyone had their cut, I think someone, it was you're like, oh, I want the bone marrow. Is there bone marrow in that? And she's like, oh, okay. And she just comes by, barehanded, snaps the bone, like the limb, just without, and it made a wet, like, and I'm like, oh my God. And I just pictured, like, if we had livestock outside, just like a lamb looking through the window, and just seeing this sweet lady go, here you go. Why don't you suck on that?
She broke it over her knee like Bo Jackson when he gets struck out.
Here you go. There's bone marrow for all. And then so we were laughing about that. And that's when Luai, one of your family members, he goes, oh yeah, that's who Parvana is. Like, you don't know, she doesn't mess around. She killed a rat in our backyard that was terrorizing people. And I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, like, this is like an old story. It's like, oh yeah, this is like 10 years ago. We're all hanging out in the backyard and there's a big rat running around and everyone's scared and ran inside. But she didn't. She grabbed a broomstick, snapped it in half, sharpened the edge, and chased it around, stabbed, stabbed it, and then brought it to the door, like, I got it, like a stray cat catches a mouse, and showed it off to everyone, and everyone's like horrified in there.
And then your dad stuck it on a pita.
But I like your mom, and it's really the juxtaposition of it, because your mom's like the sweetest person, but it's because that's how she grew up. She's like, oh yeah, there's a rat. I got it. Here we go. I get that. Oh, you guys want? Let me rip that. It was funny to be around.
Yeah.
We need that because I can't kill anything. We have a jumping spider. I don't know if you're familiar with this breed. This is the time of year where the bugs come out of the walls in a old apartment like the one we live in. And we have this new spider where you try to go kill it and it just jumps. It's not a flea though. It's a spider. Yeah.
Is it the one you had in your mouth?
No. Did we ever talk about that?
Did we talk about that?
Did I talk? I almost swallowed a spider because I was drinking. So. I started buying those liquid deaths. And which Emma thinks is so dumb. She's like, why are you paying so much for canned water? And I'm like, well, because for some reason it does go down. I think at the end of the day, I'm just a dumb man. And it looks enough like a beer that it's tricking me to suck down. I drink like 4 of these giant cans a day.
If it gets you hydrated, who cares?
Yeah. Put it in a can, put a skull on it. Make me think I'm having an IPA or whatever.
We have a number of sober people that I hang out with, and they did a water tasting, a blind seltzer water test, and Liquid Death beat everybody.
Really?
All the famous popular ones, all the good ones, yeah. Liquid Death won, yeah. It's very good.
I like I haven't had their seltzer. I just do the mountain water, where it's just water. And so what happened, I think this is how it went down. I was drinking, and then I put it on the little table next to the couch, and then I went back to take a sip, and then there was something in my mouth. And then I just went, and I didn't do this classily. I just went, blah, blah, and all this water just flowed out. And I just like spit on the coffee table, and there was a spider. There was a spider that had gone into the can, got into my mouth, and I spit it out, and it was still alive. It was all curled up, and I was moving around. Big green bastard. Ugh. And I think it bit my tongue. Like, I'm not 100% sure, but it felt, after you have pineapple and you get a little stingy, like the one part of my tongue that I felt it on, it felt stingy and sore for the rest of the night. And I'm like, I think that guy bit me.
I would have died if that happened to me.
Oh, yeah. Ugh. I've seen Emma react in bloody horror to lesser situations. Remember the cockroach?
Oh, yeah.
There was I'm blind, so I didn't have my contacts in, and we're in bed, and there was a giant cockroach up on the wall. But I don't know where me and her are just talking, and she just goes, ah, like screaming blood. I thought there was like an axe murderer behind me. Sure. And I'm blind, so I'm like, I'm like covering up. I'm trying to cover my vital organs. Like there's a bear behind me and I'm going to cover my neck or something. And I'm like, what is it? She's like, look. And then I look, but I'm too blind. So I'm like squinting and I just see this like little black dot. I'm like, that's what we're yelling about. and then I put my contacts. I had to put my contacts in to kill this cockroach, and I'm like, keep an eye on it. And she's like, hurry up, and I'm over there like putting my tags in, and then I come back, and it's a big sucker too, so I had to get my boot. That's when you know it's big, when you got to get your one pair of boots. And then right before I had to get a chair, and then I went up there, and right before I do it, she goes, don't miss. And I'm like, yeah, that's vital information, dude, because I could now it's in my head like, oh my god, if you miss, and this thing's, they're fast, I'll never catch them again. And then so I reared back, splat, juice, and it flew down, and I felt like such a man. I'm like, I need a steak and some meat sauce bread. Felt so good.
At least she wants you to kill them. Becca will want me to take them outside. She's like, don't kill, take. I'm like, I'm not taking it out to pee. I'm killing this insect. It's insane.
Yeah, Emma's not, neither of us are like that. You're like, listen, you came... It's so mean, but it's like, you came here and you don't pay rent and we kill you. We have a no squatters policy.
Well, Becca's mindset is, she goes, we're in their nature. We built a house in their nature. I'm like, we didn't build anything. We pay some Italian prick rent to be here, and I live here now. I am the master species. That's not the right way to say it. I am the captain now. I killed you. But when she's not around, I'm killing everything. When she's around, I'm like, ooh, let me get it out.
Oh, that's so funny. Brutal. Yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, all the animal lovers out there are right. Yeah. It is true. But I don't have time.
Yeah.
Because that means I got to run down, I got to get a glass and like a piece of paper, and I got to trap this bastard, slip it in, and then go all the way downstairs and go, ugh, and I'm injured. We didn't even get to that. I'm hurt. I'm hurt from every angle, up and at 'em. I hurt my hip last week from running.
Yeah.
And it's I Googled it, so I don't know if this is a correct diagnosis, but it's my IT band. So right here in my hip, it's like super sore. It feels like it's on fire. And then it went down my leg to the back of my knee, like on the top of my calf right here. And so I Googled that, and they're like, oh, that's like an IT band issue. And then I read all the things you're not supposed to do to it to feel better, and I did every one of them. Like before I Googled how to make it better, we have the massage gun, the drill with a ball on it, and I'm just drilling my hip. Because I'm like, and it hurts. It doesn't feel good, but I'm like, this is how you fix it. And then I Googled, they're like, definitely don't massage it. And I was like, I did that for 20 minutes. They're like, you're supposed to ice it and do all these weird stretches. I did none of those things. And so it still hurts. So I can't run. So yesterday I went to the gym, and so I'm like, oh, maybe I can do elliptical. I got hurt on the elliptical. Yeah. Like I think they're about to put me down. I think if you get hurt on there's not many more machines you can do. I got hurt on the elliptical, and there was an old man in front of me that was doing the hand bike. You know, the hand where you just sit there and make butter. I don't know what this guy's doing. Wow. Have you ever seen that?
No.
I think it might be for people that are like they don't have their legs anymore working.
Did he have his legs?
He had his legs, but he's elderly. Yeah, he was very elderly.
Was it an actual machine, or was he just on the floor at an exercise bike? He's like, trying to get to work. Buddy, you are in the wrong spot. It's not how it's done.
He just looks like he's changing the oil on this exercise bike. But yeah,
you get a better view from down here. Okay, buddy, it's time to get out of the gym.
So weird.
I hurt. I don't even know how this happens, but I hurt my right calf muscle on the elliptical. I don't know how that happens. My right calf feels like it was stabbed by the mob.
It's because you're compensating
for this.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
that
it.
My left foot hurts because of my right foot, my right broken foot when I broke it.
Oh.
Which now my right foot healed wider.
What?
Like it doesn't fit in my shoes that well anymore.
What?
Oh.
Yeah, I screwed something up pretty bad.
No.
I broke my foot and it's bigger now. I think it grew an extra bone. I don't know, but it's not. Now I have to buy a left 15 and a right size 16.
You're kidding.
I think so, yeah.
Whoa.
It hurts putting my foot in the shoe now, just because it's too wide at the tip.
Whoa.
Didn't you have a hoof one size off?
That was the shoe.
That was the shoe. Oh, the shoe was off.
Yeah.
Okay.
You keep calling it a hoof. What are you nailing him to her?
He always calls it a hoof.
I call everything something else. What was the thing? Because you always adopt my, my sayings.
Your terminology?
Yeah, my terminology. What was the last thing you... What was it? I don't remember. Whatever. I have the worst memory of all time. But I always come up, I annoy everybody. Like my buddy Dustin, who's a comic, I remember I annoyed him because we hung out all weekend doing shows. And I was eating these like Cliff Bar protein bars, and they're 20 grams of protein, so I called them 20 Gs. And I was like, hey, why don't you hit me with a 20 G? And then I kept saying that. And then when I order an Uber, I almost said it right there. I'm like, hey, I'm going to call an Oobs. And I'm like, hey, the Oobs is here. Give me a 20 G. And he's like, you gotta shut up with
There's
that.
too many.
Yeah, it's
too many in one.
Yeah.
Mine that Becca accidentally picked up is if something looks delicious, I'm like, oh, I'll stick that right in my ass. and now she'll be like, oh, I'll stick that. Oh, don't do it. Like she catches herself doing that, which is. Oh, was that fresh pizza? I'll sit right on that right now.
We have our own
I
for
feel
those.
like you have a couple of those,
I have a couple of those. Yeah, I always like when something's really good. I'm like, man, I'd love a bowl of that and some privacy. That's what I'd like. I think I said that in Vegas when I was talking about the mashed potatoes at that steakhouse we went to. I'm like, I want a straw and some privacy, and I'd love to slurp this up. It's so good.
I want a bowl and no audience.
Honestly, food tastes so much better in your underwear, in bed, sitting crisscross applesauce with Netflix on, and no one's around, and you just get to hunch over.
Especially
and all
in
your
a hotel.
In a hotel, you don't care about the sheets. You wipe your mouth with the top cover. You're like,
Shane Torres has a great bit. He talks about he gets two beds always. He goes, this one's for sleeping. This one's where everything's a napkin. It's so good. He's so right.
He's was that in the Blue-Eyed Mexican?
It might have been, yeah.
Oh, that's a great special.
Yeah.
Go watch that.
Yeah.
And then watch mine on Sunday. But yeah, we have like all those little dumb sayings for everything. And but yeah, I ended up getting hurt. So now my left hip hurts, my right calf hurts. And so then I just lifted weights for an hour, and I have bad shoulders, so my right shoulder hurts. So then for me to go down and get coffee this morning was just like going down like this to the stairs. And then I had to use my left hand for everything. And then just the entire walk over here, I was annoyed. You're like, you're so upset. And you're like, yes, I am. Because I'm falling apart. I think I got to get on those Joe Rogan steroids.
Didn't they like disprove those or something?
Oh yeah, they did do a thing on Alpha Brain. They did a double-blind study, and they said it's a placebo. I mean, it makes sense because I spent $40 on one of those at a CVS, and I did them. And you're like, "Do you feel anything?" Like, not a damn thing. I can't remember my PIN number. I took them because I was trying to remember my iTunes password. Nothing.
Well, you took Alpha Brain, couldn't forget your PIN number because I keep all my money in cash. It's under my bed because I'm a man. So it just replaced it with a better version.
I'd like to trade all this cash for gold bars. You just take all these gold bars like the guy from Rumpelstiltskin or something.
But I remember my password for Dogecoin. Okay. All right. Okay, Joe. We got it.
We live in such a sad time. Boeing just sent like a rocket into outer space.
Door fell off.
Yeah. Did it?
No.
Oh. All right, stop laughing so hard.
No, I get because this morning we're in bed and I put on the nightly news from the night before and it's playing and they're like, the news anchor was like, Boeing really needs this win because their planes are falling apart, you know, which to me made it feel like, you know, like when they just build a new Marriott instead of updating the other one. Yeah. That's what this feels like. So instead of just like updating the courtyard, you're like, we got a new Fairfield down the street. Why don't you go to that one? And but then during the story, they go, even Elon Musk tweeted, congrats on a great launch. And he meant it as a compliment, but they showed Elon Musk's big bucket head and just like smiling in his stupid tweet. And I'm like, that's our guy, man. This moron is our guy. This is our generation's Albert Einstein.
Yeah.
And I actually think he's a great representative for all of us, because that's who we are as a collective. Yeah. We're dumb and smart kind of at the same time.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate. Yeah. And he's, what did he say? Because Emma and I are always back and forth on having kids. And he's like, you guys have to have kids, because he's like big on like, you guys got to start having kids because we're going to lose our population. And I'm like, why? So they can work for you and buy your stuff? Like, you know who's going to be screwed if we stop having kids? Is billionaires. Because they're like, no one's going to work for them, and they won't be able to sell their crap to anybody. Yeah. And they're just like, are you a billionaire if everyone else is non-existent?
They had that Neuralink. His Neuralink just in a person for the first time. And it was like, it's working, and he's controlling things with his eyes.
Yeah.
And I was so torn. I was like, oh, it's great, but did it have to be Elon?
I know.
Damn it.
And did you invent it, or did someone else have the idea and you put psychotic money behind it?
I don't know. It's a great question. I have a computer. I can look it up.
Yeah, I remember Bill Burr had that joke about Steve Jobs, where they always talked about Steve Jobs as being like this like great guy, but it's like, what did he invent? Or did other people invent and he just showed up and took credit?
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, and I'm like, I wonder if Elon's doing that, because I think Stavros had a joke that he didn't invent Tesla. He bought the company. And he just like put money behind it.
Same with PayPal.
He didn't invent PayPal.
Nope. It was X.com.
It was X.
It was.
Oh, you're not kidding.
No. He had a payment platform called X.com, and then he merged it with PayPal and became the CEO of PayPal, sold it, and made a ton of money. And that's yeah.
Did he invent the X one then?
Well, it was just a payment processing platform. There was nothing to be invented.
Right.
PayPal existed already.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was the Circle K to the 7-Eleven.
I guess, yeah.
I'm trying to compare it. I don't get it. But yeah, I think sometimes we overestimate how smart these people are. Because we watched that was a documentary we actually liked. Who's the big scammer? Bernie Madoff.
Oh, yeah.
His building's right next door.
Is it
we're next door to where that
the big
happened.
lipstick building that they always show. We should go look at that.
Hell yeah.
Just point at it.
That's what I do. That's my entire existence is we walk around and I go, whoa. And then you're like, you shouldn't point.
You're such a pointer.
I'm a big... Did you see that? Look at that. I like a good point. I've always been a good point, you know? I don't know how to be subtle. Like, if you got a weird face, there's a good chance I'm going to go.
You're going to make a weird face at it. People just think you're making fun of them. Look at that guy. Okay.
Get a load of this guy. No lower jaw. You know?
And sometimes when I try to tell you something discreetly, you just go... Huh? Where? Oh, that lady over there?
It's because so the eye point, so you know which direction to look at for the thing I'm talking about. You don't point at all. So you're
did you notice I was whispering? That's the energy, man.
True. I'm such an embarrassment. We'll be walking down the street shoulder to shoulder, and she'll be like, "Get a load of that," and I'll just go, "Huh?" Because you gave me no direction. So like my 360 camera is spinning around, going, "Oh, let me catch this," and then you're like, "Less obvious, maybe."
That's so funny.
Or the best is we were at the airport, and there was someone wearing something stupid. Or something noteworthy. Yeah. And you're turning, you're like, you got to look at that. And then I always do the same thing with you where I'm like, well, we both can't look. We both can't do a full, whoa, look at that. You know, you got to take turns. So I'm like, all right, go look over there. And I'm going to do a big, and then I come back and I go, you weren't wrong about that. And then I'll give a good point, you know, setting everybody off. But
I don't know if you wanted to talk about this, but it's been on my mind since we started.
Yeah.
You talk a lot about growing up in a trailer park and things like that. And then sometimes it's like, okay, I believe you. But then you wear shorts for the first time and you have a single leg tattoo. And I'm like, yeah, maybe he did.
And if you know what it says, it's worse.
I don't know what it says.
Stud muffin. don't know if you can get that on the camera there.
Hold on, there you go. There it is.
This is my first tattoo. Stud muffin. And no, I wasn't drunk.
Pre-comedy.
Pre-comedy. I was 19 years old. I thought about it for a year before I got it. I thought about it I was 18. I thought about it my senior year of high school. I was brainstorming with my friends, like a tattoo idea.
It's always going to end well.
Yeah. And then I think either I said it or someone said, like, you should get stud muffin. I'm like, genius, dude. I had a plan. I was going to get stud muffin on one leg and beefcake on the other. Well, so no matter what side you're on, you're getting a little bit of the action. You know?
No matter where you're walking, you know who I am.
I love that setup. You're like, I knew you grew up in the trailer park, but then you wear shorts.
Every now and again, you prove it. I have stupid tattoos too, so it's coming from a place of love and remorse. But I've been trying to read it, and I thought it said occult coffin, but
it's the T's a little crooked, so stud's a little hard.
And the S looks like an Omicron.
Tattoo.
Yeah, it's not the best tattoo. It's $100. Back in 2005. I remember when I showed it to my mother. She was working at this diner, this Greek diner. And I would show up for breakfast on Saturdays because she'd give me free breakfast. And I just was wearing shorts and I left my leg out there. And then she comes and she goes, my mom's very supportive, but she goes, oh, okay. And I was like, and I had a friend with me, and my mom just goes, I suffer for 9 months, and this is what you go do. And then she dropped the pancakes off and left.
And then she dropped you the bill. Free breakfast is over.
You have $100, ruin your body, you pay for pancakes.
I have a very stupid mustache on my arm.
Oh my God, I never saw that. Look at that.
It's so dumb.
Oh,
but I will say it was before people thought mustaches were cool. And I got it, and then like immediately, not because of me, but right afterwards, everyone's getting their mustaches all over. I was like,
oh, you did that before.
This is like 2006, 2007.
Oh, yeah, because people got the mustaches on their finger, which I thought about doing too.
So did I.
Yeah, like, you get to do that and go. But you get to flex, and then someone puts their face behind it and go, oh, look at this goofy thing. That's fun.
Is it?
Well, that's actually the reason I wanted a stupid tattoo, because at the time, the tattoos that were popular, at least in Southern California in 04, 05, were getting your last name tattooed on your back, like a jersey, and which I still think is moronic. And I know a bunch of people I went to high school with that have it.
Well, the East Coast, it's on their belly, so.
Oh, God.
In Old English.
Yeah, we did Old English on our shoulders, like a jersey. Like a jersey you can't take off. Not getting traded off of this team, fellas.
And the cool guys get their number below it, 69 right across their back.
Yeah, my last name's Kaszas. What team do I play for? The Moles. Look at all these moles, everybody. Melanoma. That's who I'm playing for. So it was either a tattoo on your back with your last name, or like another one that was popular was getting a life and death on your forearms. Sure. And you could go, life and death, life and death. And I'm like, those are dumb because they're like oddly aggressive, but they're dumb. Yeah. So I'm like, if we're going to go dumb, let's go dumb.
Sure.
And then stud muffin.
There it is.
And I had a whole beefcake plan, and then thankfully I didn't do beefcake.
What do we got to do to get beefcake on there?
I think that's done. I think my tattoos are done.
I mean, it is permanent. So it's always going to be stud muffin.
It always is.
So might as well finish it.
I also wanted a tattoo that ggets funnier as I get older.
Sure.
Like there's going to be a day where I'm 80 years old at the Y in shorts doing the hand bike. Someone's going to look down and go, why don't his legs work? And then they go, oh, he got that stud muffin tattoo.
Well, that's when it becomes cute. You're an old man, this is stud muffin?
Yeah, that's pretty badass.
I might have to get it cleaned up because eventually those types of tattoos just end up looking like a bruise on your leg. Mm-hmm. I worked with a guy that had these old like Navy tattoos, and then they just kind of look like splotches. But if you look close, you're like, oh, that's an anchor. All right. Yeah, you got to look close. But, yeah, I'm glad it was funny. I was put on shorts, and I'm like, it's so hot, I'm wearing shorts to the show. And I'm like, Mike's going to see the stud muffin. But I'm not going to say anything unless he calls it out. Yeah. And sure enough, you did.
Well, I feel like I called it out in love. It wasn't,
no.
I was just curious.
No, I'm very...
for comedic fodder.
I'm very open to talking about it. I always want to pull it out on stage, but it feels like such a... Like, I'm scared to. You know? And then I feel like I'm ripping off my buddy Bob, who has Bob tattooed on his chest. Yeah. He's like, I'm the B.O.B. And then he'll pull it down. People are like, good Lord, yeah, you are. Man, I got like a lot of mucus in the throat. You hearing it?
Yummy.
From the spider.
From the spider. I think the poison. Is that how Spider-Man started? He was drinking liquid death out of a can, and there was a spider in there, bit him in the tongue.
It's very similar, yeah. When you thought you got bit, how much did it take for you not to just do this?
You know, it would be lame if it only came from my tongue.
The gleek? Filled with...
Dude, my gleeks are going at least 12 inches longer than they did before. I could gleek a baby from across the room. I'll hit him right in the eye. I'll blind that little fella. But yeah, we... What else? Oh, that was the thing I was going to bring, because we started talking about Bernie Madoff, because we were talking about Elon Musk. We watched the Bernie Madoff documentary. I don't know if you watched it. It's not new. It came out in like 2023. It came out last year. Yeah. But we watched all the pieces. And I've learned this pretty much from watching all the scammy, like all the people that run scams. They're never that genius of a scam. It's always just like, oh yeah, I lied a lot. And then I kept lying. And then I kept making money. It's not like a big, like, it's not like a Albert Einstein level equation of like, all right, we get the money here, and then we did and then E equals MC squared, and then divide that by 2, and then if we point it at the sun, we're millionaires. Like, it's never some big thing. It's just like, oh, I'm going to take this guy's money, I'm going to hold it, and then this other guy, I'm going to give him that guy's money, but then he gives me money, so I'm going to give it to that guy. And it's not that fancy. Mm-hmm. And we got to find out that Ponzi was a real guy. Mm-hmm. Is Charles Ponzi. And it made me wonder if, like...
It was Chuck Scheme, as it turns out.
Is that another one? No. It made me wonder if, like... You know how everyone in Hitler's family changed their name after he got, you know...
I'd hope so. Yeah. I didn't know that.
I didn't know.
No, a bunch of people that were related to Hitler changed their... There's no more Hitlers running around.
A couple of them changed their first name to Hitler, though. They went the other direction. My name is Hitler von Hitler. Really?
Yeah, I live in the woods of Oregon, and this is my biker gang. You know? But no, like, I feel like I've learned that the people related to Hitler like changed their last name out of shame and embarrassment. But I wonder if that happened to the Ponzis, where like Charles Ponzi gets busted, and you're like, you can't. Who's doing business with a guy named Ponzi? You know, like if you met somebody in the journaling business and they're like, hey, I can make these journals for 10% less out of my factory in Brooklyn, American made, and you're like, sign right here under my name, Ponzi, and you're like, I don't know if we're gonna get these damn journals.
I'd probably fall for it.
Yeah, see, it's all wet in there.
Oh,
it's a lot of Ponzi still out there, according to the ancestry.
Oh, so they didn't change their name.
Still lots of them out there. Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't realize that it was just a guy's name, because it made, you know.
Yeah, because Ponzi doesn't make sense.
No.
Yeah. Good guy though.
Yeah, I mean,
this guy's a genius.
It is weird because the Bernie Madoff one, they interviewed a lot of the victims, and it was hard to feel bad for some of them because, like, this one guy, he's like, "Oh yeah, my wife and I ran a health food grocery store, and we sold it for $1 million, and we gave all of it to Bernie Madoff to double our, grow our money." And I'm like, "All of it? Like that's, I mean, it's." Greedy. Like, everyone was greedy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, you were a victim and you stole all your money, but, like, you gave them all of it. How'd you think this was going to end?
It seems like a real aggressive move.
Yeah.
To just give everything to a guy that's promising you more.
Right.
That just, I don't know. Maybe it's just instinct, but that seems wrong.
And they interviewed me as, like, I did all my homework on him, and I'm like, I get all that. But all he has to do is mess up once. Or not even him. What if just the market crashes again? It happened in 29, it happened in 08. It happened a bunch of other times that weren't as big, like less people jumped off a bridge But it's happened so many times and people are like, all of it on black. And you're like, what are you doing, dude? Not all of it, just what you're willing to lose. I don't know. I'm also I'm not against capitalism because I have tickets on sale. But so I'm not against it, but also maybe don't put all of it in there. Maybe just keep some in case some of it disappears.
Also, how are you going to pay for stuff?
Exactly.
Just give him everything.
Yeah. I remember I talked to the tax guy. And he's like, how much money do you have? And I told him. And he's like, yeah, if you ever want to invest some of it. And we never got to the point where I told him how much I'm willing to invest. But I'm sure if I told him, I'll give you $100. See what you do with that.
All right, put it on red is my financial expertise.
I would only give enough money to a financial advisor that if he lost all of it, I wouldn't kill him.
Yeah.
That's the limit.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I opened my 401k and this nice man that worked at Bank of America, and I think I forget how much I put in there to open it. It was like $5,000 or something. And I remember I didn't have the guts to do this, but I wanted to look at him while we were shaking hands. And I go, if you lose this money, I'm going to kill you. That's what I wanted. I'm like, I'm going to kill you.
Just that second handshake where you're like, thank you so much. And just look at him.
That's where I wish I was as big as you, because I would do that all the time. You shake someone's hand, and then you bring them in. And you're like, let me tell you something.
Well, now it's just very similar to your new powers. With great power comes great responsibility.
It's true.
Now that you are radioactive.
Now that I can gleek 2 feet and spray my juice.
You got to gleek with responsibility.
You got to gleek with the responsibility. How are we doing on time?
Buddy, do you want to guess?
45.
55.
55. We got to wrap this bad
flowing.
boy up. Mm-hmm. We're flowing. We're gushing. We're gooing. We're doing all the stuff. I don't know what any of that meant. Don't forget to check out my special this Sunday. Honorary Jones, YouTube. Buy yourself a safe journal. And follow all of us on the social medias. I never add that part in. Big Man Mike. Zoltan Comedy. Emma Basiri.
Safe.journal.
Safe. To follow the social media for this thing. Mm-hmm. It's over 200,000 followers now. Mm-hmm. What are you at now? 210?
2 something, yeah.
2 something, yeah. Mm-hmm. I like how you're being subtle. Like, I'm not keeping track. You're keeping track. Because you're doing it on your
ass whooping after this.
It's because you're putting in so much work. You're posting reels every day. You're putting in like the legwork to make that thing go, and you're crushing it.
Thank you.
I'm sending praise.
Thank you so much.
Safejournal.co, Zoltan for a 25% discount code at checkout. And that's it. Bye, everybody.
Trekking heavy or traveling light, there's one thing that's right wherever I go.